Hello my friends, my name's Vee Bee and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel if it's not your first time here. So as you can see, I'm out in my greenhouse today and I thought I would finally get around to a task I've been putting off for a long time. I've been wanting to repot some of my smaller plants that I have out here, and coincidentally I have a lot of tiny thrifted planters that I thought those plants could go into. So I'm gonna do like a few propagations and switch some things around, and I thought I would bring you along for the journey because I need a plant friend and I also need to get my hands in the soil. There's a lot of bugs out here that are like surprisingly loud. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do for this video, but I just thought I would do some very soothing plant chores, and I thought maybe you'd be interested to see how I use some of the planters that I've thrifted. I think it'll be really cute. I'm excited to see how some of these grow in, and it'll be nice to get something done off my plant chores to-do list. Alright, so here are the 10 thrifted planters that I picked to work on today. I think they're all vintage for the most part, except for this little turquoise one. It looks pretty recent. That Cocker Spaniel planter I thrifted very recently, but everything else I've had for a little bit of time. Earl hung out in the greenhouse pretty much the whole time. Sometimes he was just outside the door, but yeah, no, he was really soaking up the sun out here. I don't know how he managed it because it was like 40 degrees, no joke. Right now I'm just fitting a little bit of window screening over a hole that's in this tiny little cat basket planter. And this is my very sad basket of string of hearts. Right now I'm just trimming out the dead crispy bits, and I'm just taking a few nice cuttings to add to this little basket. Don't get attached because I changed my mind. This is a strawberry begonia. Don't get attached to it either. I'm just putting a little bit of cactus soil into this basket just to fill it. And yeah, this is one of my favorite ways to propagate string of hearts. I really wanted to propagate some because, as you can see, that basket is not looking its best. Although since it's been in the greenhouse, it's starting to bounce back. I'm just doing these little butterfly cuts. So I'm just cutting out the leaf segments and then I'm going to pin them to the soil very carefully. And I'm just using twist ties for this, although there's lots of things you can use. Yeah, so I'm just making like a little peg and then I'm going to pin it to the soil. And unfortunately, you will watch me struggle so hard through this entire process. And what's really infuriating is that yes, I indeed changed my mind about the whole process. It's a little bit fiddly, but it is much easier than you would think based on this video, and you'll see an example of that later. And I'm just fitting in the strawberry begonia too, although yeah, I don't know. Now looking back, it doesn't look that bad. It looks pretty cute here, but I just needed to change it up. Anyway, you'll see. Next, I'm doing this little wheelbarrow with variegated string of hearts, and I'm a little disappointed in myself because I didn't notice how underwatered this little branch was before I picked it. I think it might still be okay, but ideally you want to make sure your plants have a nice water level before you take cuttings. Just pointing out there's like a little bit of new growth on that one already, but yeah, these leaves are so wrinkled. We'll see. I'm just going to baby them along. This one I am putting a little peg into the soil, but a lot of them I also just sort of very carefully pop them down in like you see here. I'm really liking how this is looking already. I really like the pink of the leaves of this little plant with the like rose accent on this wheelbarrow. I think it's really cute, and I'm really excited to see how this grows in. I think once it starts trailing, it's going to be really, really adorable. So I'm excited. Ideally, you'd also want to wait to let these callus over a little bit more, but I have a lot of string of hearts, or variegated string of hearts, so I'm not super attached to these, but ideally you would want to wait a little bit to put them into soil. Here is my very sad ZZ plant propagation that has it's long suffering. I don't know what to tell you. I'm just unwrapping this leaf because yeah, there's some thrips in there. I knew it looked suspicious, so I'm just trimming off this leaf, and I'm wearing my gardening gloves because the sap of ZZ plants is actually a little bit of an irritant. And yeah, overdoing it on the soil here a little bit, but yeah, the sap's a little bit of an irritant, although as you can see, I forgot my gloves here, and I did start to notice my thumb was getting a little bit burny. I noticed right here, and then I went in and washed my hands and grabbed my glove. Anyway, it's, you know, it's something you maybe want to be mindful of with kids and pets, but I don't know. I still have this little one. Please send it good thoughts because I don't know. It's in hard shape. This is my teardrop peperomia. I always want to call it raindrop peperomia, but I'm pretty sure it's teardrop. As you can see, there's some little babies growing in the clear plastic. I love being able to peek on those. And there's one little leaflet that's coming out of that other leaf, which I was very proud of because I didn't think it was going to do anything for a long time. And I'm just potting them up into this like Dutch clog. I'm really curious what this actually was because it has like a hole in it. So I'm curious if it was supposed to go onto the wall or if it's like an ashtray. I'm not really sure. It's pretty cute anyway. I'm excited to put this right on my windowsill where I was propagating this plant. And what I'm doing here is I'm just going to very gently ease it out of this little container. This is a container that I bought a butter tart in. And now that I watch this, it really makes me want to have another butter tart, I have to say. And I'm just going to really carefully just pick away at some of the loose soil to try to get it to the right size that it needs to go into this container. And I'm being really careful. I don't want to disturb the roots too much. And I'm being really careful of those little babies that are on the side. And yeah, I'm just very gently working away at this to get it to the right size. And then I'm going to carefully kind of press it down into there. I don't think that this plant is going to be able to stay in here for too long, but it's a little upgrade and I think it'll look cute in the meantime. I'm leaving the bigger plant cuttings, like the big leaves on there for now, just to kind of get it established, but it'll look really cute when I clip those out of there. But honestly, I don't mind how it looks even with those like big leaves. As you can see, they weren't even the nicest leaves when I started this propagation. Like where I cut the leaf, they were kind of browning and turning black. So, you know, and it's just amazing what plants will grow. And this is how it looks, and I'm really excited to see how these little babies grow in there. I think this is going to look really cute. And yeah, I have this right on my windowsill where I was propagating this. And now I'm going to pot up this little bear planter. I'm really excited to finally use some of this variegated bear paw succulent. It's looking in hard shape because it took a lot of falls, I'm not gonna lie. But that's coming in pretty handy here because I don't mind trimming it up to take these cuttings. Ideally, you'd want to let these callus over. I'm just kind of popping them in here and I'm gonna be leaving them to dry out in the soil. That's not best practice, but that is what I did here. Once I kind of let these callus over in the soil, I'm just gonna water them a little bit every day, just like a little bit to dampen the soil. It is so beautiful out in the greenhouse this time of year. I'm not doing the most out there. Like other years I've had more of a garden, but I don't know. I'm really soaking in the last of these summer days, and Earl's been hanging out with me too, which is really nice. So I'm just getting into this dish of succulents. I've been propagating these for kind of about a year, I think. And what I'm doing is just gently lifting out the roots. Some of them I'm just gonna pop out and trim, but trying to save the roots as much as possible. This one was growing funny, so I decided to trim it. And then, yeah, I think most of the ones that I'm grabbing are called lavender pebbles or potentially baby toes. I don't know the difference between those at this stage. And then there is one other little, I don't know, maybe it's an echeveria. There's two different varieties of succulents here, but most of them are like this one, the lavender pebbles or baby toes. I don't know. What names? Succulents, they have some wild names. And what I'm doing is just gently like fitting them in here. I find it so satisfying to repot succulents because you can just pop the propagations down in there like this and it kind of already looks like a plant that's been established for a little while. Yeah, I'm just cutting off the leaflet from here, and I could could have left it on, maybe I should have, but it was just an aesthetic choice. I think probably that little plantlet is going to be fine. I'm kind of keeping the soil a little bit moist because some of those roots on there are a little bit not in the best shape. And now I'm just kind of popping in those little leaflets that came off of that other cutting just to see if they'll get started. I feel like there's probably a good chance. And I really like how this turned out already. I really like the bluish tint to the leaves with this planter. I think it's going to look so cute. So I'm going to pot up this dragon fruit cactus into this little Cocker Spaniel planter. It reminds me of my sister's dog, Sunny, and I did consider giving this planter to her, and maybe I still will, but she is a self-proclaimed plant killer, so I'm not sure. I'm thinking about it. This little dragon fruit propagation has been in this container for too long. It definitely got a bit thrippy. It's looking a little hard up, so I'm excited to pot it into something cute because I think it will make me pay attention to it a little bit more. Sometimes that works for me anyway. And unfortunately, you don't really see a lot because of my big hands, but this is the final product, and I think it looks really cute. I was going to put something else in there, and then everything got switched around, so I decided I wanted to take the string of hearts out of this little cat basket and pop them into this cup. And for an example, this is how easy it can be to pot up string of hearts. It went a lot better the second time around. You know, sometimes you gotta throw out the first pancake when you're making pancakes. The first one just is, it's just a throwaway. I am gonna take this one as a do-over. And I just took a couple extra cuttings just to, get the full effect. I wanted to see what it would look like as it started to trail. And I really like this, and I'm glad I made the change. I put the strawberry begonia somewhere else. We'll see if it takes off. I'm not so sure about that one. And yeah, I decided to take this little tiny sedum. I'm not sure what variety it is. And I'm going to pop that into this basket instead. I got cuttings of the sedum from my mother-in-law type figure. It's kind of nice that some of it was able to save. I got a few different cuttings of sedums that I brought home from Ontario. It's nice to pot them in here because I thrifted this when we were all out together visiting them. So it's kind of a nice little memento of the trip. And yeah, I'm surprised so much of this survived. There was a lot growing underneath, even more than I could really see before I got into that container. And yeah, I think this is gonna look so cute. I'm just adding a little bit of water to that every day to get it started. And finally, we have the infamous monkey planter. I also purchased this in Ontario and forgot about it, and its face kind of scares me, I'm not gonna lie. I'm just sterilizing these scissors, which is something I have been doing this whole time, I just haven't shown. And I'm taking a few cuttings of my string of bananas because I remembered that is why I thrifted it. I thought maybe this could be a cute combination. And all I'm doing is popping them down into the soil. Ideally, you'd want to let these callus over for a little while, but I'm just snipping off the leaves. Yeah, unfortunately, this footage is all blurry, but this is the final effect. I think it's actually kind of growing on me now that it has some little plants in there. I think it's going to look cute. And last but not least, I have this elephant pot that I'm very excited to put this elephant bush succulent into. I thrifted this pot when I was in Montreal hanging out with my friend Alex. I bought it at an Auntie Cafe, which is something I'd never heard of until I visited Montreal. And I understand that not all of them have like a vintage store element to them, but this one did, which was cool. And yeah, this elephant bush had a bad case of powdery mildew, so that's why it's looking a little haggard. And I decided to take cuttings instead of just try to save the roots. Looking back, I kind of wish that I had treated these before I potted them up because some of those stems look a little suspicious to me, but I'm just going to keep an eye on it and see how it goes. Yeah, because these are just tiny little propagations, I'm just going to be very careful when I'm watering this. I'm just going to try to keep the soil lightly damp for a little while until the roots establish.
But yeah, we'll see. Send it some good thoughts and prayers because it's been really struggling with powdery mildew and maybe I shouldn't have propagated it. So here is the final result of all of our hard work. It was so hot. I can't believe we got through everything.
Well, my friends, thank you for joining me for another video. I hope you enjoyed following me along for a few planty chores and seeing how I don't know, propagated a few of these plants and potted things up, and how I use some of my thrifted planters that I've been picking up all this time. Maybe it gives you a few ideas when you're at the thrift store of things that could potentially become a plant pot. Here's a tip, it's pretty much anything. So I hope you enjoyed this video and thank you so much for sticking around to the end. I'll see you next time for some more thrifty and planty content. Until then, thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Bye.